Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark of the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1923 Buster Keaton silent comedy Our Hospitality. Hey, well, there's no need to get violent here. It's gonna be a great review. Our Hospitality was directed by Buster Keaton and stars Buster Keaton as well. It also stars his real life wife Natalie Talmadge as Virginia Canfield. He plays Willie McKay. His real life son is also in this movie, and so is his father. So we have three different generations of Keatons in this movie, which was not something that you would commonly see. This movie is a parody of the famous Hatfield and McCoy feuds, in which generations of these two families killed each other in a famous feud, in which at one point they completely lost track of why they were feuding, and they just did it because the generations before them were doing it. That is where this movie starts off. You have the patriarchs of the McKay and Canfield families who are fighting each other to the death. They one day get into a brawl and kill each other at the same time. After this happens, the mother of Willie McKay, who is played by Buster Keaton, decides that she no longer wants to continue this feud. She no longer wants her son to be involved in this, so she moves him to New York, away from the other family, where they can live and he can never know that this feud ever happens. Now, later on in his life, when he's in his late teens, early 20s, he gets a note that says that his old family house is left to him in a will, and he needs to go back to the town in which he was born to claim his house. So he jumps on a train, and while he's on this train, he meets Virginia Canfield by coincidence, who of course is the daughter of the feuding family, and they immediately are attracted to each other. They fall in love with each other, and when he gets to his the house that he inherited, it's not the big mansion that he thought it would be. It's this little rundown shack, and he realizes that he is in this feud with a family that he had no idea existed. Now he's inside the Canfield's house because he's invited into their house by Virginia. She says, "Come over and have dinner with me, meet my family." And when he gets into the house, he realizes that the family cannot kill him because they have this tradition that if you're a guest inside of our house, we cannot attack you or murder you or kill you. So he does everything he possibly can to never leave this house so that he is never murdered. And funniness and hijinks in tow, where every time he steps outside for a minute, the family are loading up their gun to kill him and shoot at him. They're constantly on edge with each other and ready to strikes at a moment's notice. It's really funny. I would say for me, the first half of this movie is probably funnier. The big star of this movie in the beginning is the train that they ride into town on, because it is a very rink-a-dink, shotly put together train. There's a couple funny scenes in this movie involving this locomotive, but a specific scene is where they're going along this track, and there's this log in the way, but instead of moving the log or building a train somehow around the log, they decide to build the train over the log. So it's this really bumpy kind of incline, almost like a roller coaster, that it goes up and down so that it can go over a log. At one point, there's a animal that is resting on the train tracks, and instead of trying to get him off of the train tracks, they just are able to push the train track aside so that the train travels around on the track somehow and goes around the animal. So it's a very shoddily put together train track. And then they decide, the person driving the train, who I believe this is Buster Keaton's father in real life, decides that it's going to be faster to not travel on the track at all. So he just somehow gets the train off the track entirely, and they're just driving down a regular dirt road instead of on the track itself. This movie's an hour I don't know, an hour and 10, 15 minutes long. And like half an hour of it is just the funny hijinks on this train. And then once they get to the town, the hilarity is in Buster Keaton trying to elude this family in any way he can while still staying inside of the house. The movie is hilarious. I thought it was very well written. The music is great. I've said in the other reviews I've done of silent films, I'm not actually sure if the music in this movie is the original score or if it's something they went back and remastered. I know I believe Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin did a really good job preserving their own movies themselves so that they didn't have to worry about it getting like lost in these fires later on. And that's why they are big silent film stars of the day because so many of their movies survived. Not only that, because they were funny and they like took on dual roles and stuff. But so I'm not exactly sure how well the music of this movie is preserved. I did do a search on Wikipedia and it said that at some point it was remastered, but I don't know if I saw the remastered version or if I saw the older version. But the music, just like every Buster Keaton film, the music in this movie is absolutely perfect. It is astounding. He is hilarious. For him, his movies are very hit or miss for me. A handful of them I think are just not very funny at all. They're situational, where he goes from situation to situation, trying to get a gag here and there. But there's these other deep movies that are actually really funny and have a great storyline and a great love story and a great plot. And I think that this is one of those movies that he actually did hit a home run for me, that it actually was very funny, very well done. Natalie Talmadge, who is his wife in real life, I think this was the last movie she was in. She did a really good job as well. I didn't know his wife in real life was an actress. I had no idea who she was until I saw this movie. They had great on-screen chemistry together. I thought she was actually very funny as well. There is like a guy in this movie who is like a bigger gentleman, who is like the strong-armed gentleman. I guess he had a stroke on set and they wanted to take him to the hospital and they wanted to stop him from performing the rest of his part in this movie, but he said he wanted to go on. And then shortly after this movie was done, he passed away. So this was his last movie as well. But I think this movie is great. It's not as good as the general the second movie I've seen of his that involves a train. The trains in his two movies are much different, though. In fact, there's also a train in the next movie I'm watching called The Wheel, and it is also much more modern. So I don't know if they used this style of train in this movie just for comedy reasons, or if this is actually at one point how a train actually looked. But the train in this movie is much different than any other train I've ever seen. But like I said, much different than the one in the general, much different than the next movie that I'm going to review called The Wheel. But it is hilarious. If they designed it just for this movie, they did a fantastic job, because it really is comedy gold. I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic. Not as good as The General. I don't think it also was as good as The Cameraman, but it's still a great movie. I give it a 9 out of 10.